Hello everyone, and welcome back to my city. This is Tadzjaz here, and we're going to fly over here, and I'm going to show you basically the rest of the Dock and Gatehouse build. You can see here, basically working on the underside, and we're basically filling up with the different logs and different materials to make it a little bit more interesting for the part that goes underneath the bridge. Panning around, you can see this frame is all up for the ground on the first floor. And you can see the dock area with this frame of the building over here that we will hopefully in the future build. Flying up to the build, you can see that I've been filling in the front of the build. We've got different materials on the front at a different level, and I'll try and work my way up to do the first floor and then do the second floor with the component that flies across the bridge to create a gateway into the city. Let's fly inside. You can have a look. You've got the little opening in the middle which allows a double height space from the boatyard bit at the bottom, and then that will create this opening above. And then I will try and work on this side, the left side as well, to create this building that kind of links to the right side and creates this sort of gateway building into the city, but makes it sort of like an interesting, like a boatyard building, but also maybe like a sort of a kind of tavern-esque where people could stay the night and all workers could stay in little rooms in the upper floors. Now you can see I'm collecting resources from the right hand side. There's a few buildings here that I want to put roofs on or upgrade to a medieval-esque, and then in the future I may try and make this castle to the left hand side into something kind of eventful in the build. You can see I'm filling the sides. I'm using a various, I think, spruce stairs and oak wood to kind of create the contrasting elements. See that the area is kind of slowly being filled in, there's more detail being added, and then hopefully once I get all the builds sorted I then can work on the landscaping of the area and try and get a little bit more, basically make it a lot more busy so that when you're running on the ground it looks kind of more like a city in a busy kind of medieval kind of square or dockyard. Okay, this is onto the next day where we continue progress. We just started at my spawn house, which is the first house on here. You can see that I basically will try and work up all of this stuff across here, work up the different buildings, but you can see a lot of time there's a few work in progress houses. So in future what I want to try and do is try and finish these builds so that there's not too many unfinished buildings. You can see I've started on the structure on the other side of the build, the other side of the bridge, and it's kind of working up this staircase so that it can go up a floor, and then that floor, which is the second floor, will link across to the other side. As you can see, I'm building the frame here, and then I'll work out a sort of a flooring for that bridge that looks like an elegant detail underneath, but also when you run across it above. So I worked with spruce slabs and spruce stairs, and then there's oak slabs as well. But just got a little bit attacked by phantoms because I've been using their kind of what you call, I don't know what you get from the little fluffy cloud things, and that repairs my elytra because I still haven't got mending yet. But you see, lighting up the build, it kind of creates this warm building, and then when you fly inside, this is the boathouse. You look up, you've got the double height space. You pan around and you have this opening gathering, and then you could walk up the staircase which would lead to the sleeping quarters up here. I'm building the frame of this upper floor, and then I'll work out how to fill this space with the different rooms and that people will eventually live in. You can see here where the detailing I've put in, and then a small chandelier that I've lit, which would create this kind of feature when you run across the bridge. Okay, I'm building the 3 floors and the structure of the 3 floors. Panning to the front, you you can see the structure is built, and I'm building the inner bits between the two builds so that they have like openings between them, maybe creating some sort of entrance area in the future, so it kind of feels like when people enter the city they'd have to enter this building for some sort of purpose, or having that sort of documentation sort of thing. Building the ground floor structure here, and you can see I'm filling in with oak stairs, and that'll be kind of the main, I'd say ground floor, but it's going to be it's the first floor level compared to the left hand side, but it's kind of the main entrance for that part of the build. You can see panning across here, you can see the detailing of the underside, and I've started to put the cobblestone for this structure, so it kind of gives this sort of old medieval cobblestone structure. And then you'll pan under here, and then there'll be some sort of staircase that leads up to this level here. You can see that I'm building the staircase here, which would lead from this level to the upper level, which then has that connection to the other build. You pan to the front, you see the chandelier, the light, you can see the detailing, so people running across or run underneath the chandelier, and then maybe I'll put some sort of gate on the front, an open gate, so it kind of gives you that threshold that you're running from the outside into the city. You can see there's open glass pane here, and then maybe I'll make this right side into a doorway, so you could in essence enter this build underneath the staircase, and it kind of gives you that sort of interaction with this building. Looking up, you can see that walkway, which has got the textured surface, which is the kind of detailing that I've got underneath, and then that will kind of be a central component with a kind of as a link between these two sides of the build. You can see I've started filling in the front, which I use oak wood and oak stairs, with also spruce stairs for the corners. And then this kind of gives because of their similar colour, it doesn't create too much of a contrast compared with the dark oak structure of the building. See that the structure of the upper floor is nearly there, and then I could try and work out a structure on the other side of the build that will link up, and then work out eventually how this roof will sit on top of this building. You can see here I'm doing the upper floor on this side, but I need to make sure I light up the area because I don't want any creepers or anything like that attacking me whilst I do my builds. You can see that these basically what I'll build is a structure across the bridge, so it doesn't look like a floating bridge, and then this will kind of create it more like a introduction into the city, but kind of give you that sort of the contrasting elements of the stone bridge with the wooden medieval build. looking at the bridge, you see I use stone bricks for basically the structural supports, and then I've got the cobblestone, which is these detailing elements for the bridge. So it kind of gives that slight contrast with the more medieval build, but with the cobblestone it kind of creates it a little bit more natural and old style. You can see panning to the left side of the bridge, you can see all the brick columns are there, and then next I'll go around collecting cobblestone and making it into stairs to fill in these sort of components between these two sides. You see panning underneath, you've sort of got these elements that stick out either side that kind of use these cobblestone underneath to emphasize that sort of support the frame of the bridge. Panning out, you can see that the bridge links into the medieval build. It's a contrasting element, but around here you can see that I've started to look at kind of making these natural trees that are vertical, and they use sort of kind of a white birch-esque trunk to it, and then I use sort of leaves that kind of just to create some sort of natural element into this build. Panning out, you can kind of see what progress we've made on the dock and the progress we've done on the gatehouse. You can see that this is kind of where it's finishing up for this build, and hopefully in future we'll create the two sides and then put the roofs on and fill it up. Hope you guys enjoyed the build. If you did, feel free to give me a like, and any comments or feedback about the build would be greatly appreciated. And I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you and goodbye.